If you could have a drink with anyone in the theater world, who would it be? I'm Anthony Caporale, and I'm running through my list. Each week, I'll sit down with cast members, bartenders, and personalities from New York's theater district and get a behind-the-scenes look at what it's like to live, work, and play on Broadway. Come have a drink with us on Broadway Bartender. Welcome to Broadway Bartender. My name is Anthony Caporale. We are here at New World Stages in the heart of the theater district in Times Square, home to my show, The Imbible, A Spirited History of Drinking. And this week, we are making old school cocktails, and I think you'll understand why when you see our guest. But I'm gonna start with a classic drink. We actually use this in the teaser for the series. I'm gonna make a Manhattan. And I'm gonna make a Manhattan the old school way. I'm gonna use rye, which is the traditional whiskey that's used in the Manhattan, as opposed to bourbon. Most Manhattans today are made with bourbon, but I think rye balances the sweet vermouth a little better, and that is the other ingredient. So I'm gonna serve these drinks up, which means in a martini glass. And I'm gonna start by filling my mixing tin with ice. And since I'm making 2 of these, I'm gonna double my recipe. So I would normally do 2 ounces of rye per drink, but I'm gonna do 4 ounces because I'm making a double recipe. And then I want about a 1/4 ounce of sweet vermouth, which is a fortified wine. And so now I'm gonna use about 1/2 because again, I'm doubling my recipe. And then I wanna go ahead and stir this up really well. And stirring is super important when you're making the drink. One of the things I always ask my students is, what do you think a bartender's main job is? And they always say, well, mixing liquids. And I'm like, no, when you put 2 liquids in a glass, they mix. What we do is control temperature and dilution. And that's what I'm doing by stirring this drink with ice. So once it's nice and cold and the spirit, the rye, is diluted just a little bit, we call it opened up because watered down doesn't sound good. I'm gonna go ahead and strain this into my martini glass or my cocktail glass. And you see I have a nice, beautiful, crystal clear amber drink. And I want to finish this with 2 dashes of cocktail bitters. And I'm gonna use Angostura, the classic cocktail bitters, and I'm gonna garnish it with a cherry. And this is our absolutely classic version of the Manhattan, which I'm happy to present to our special guest this week, Josh Walden.
Yay!
Hit musical CAGNEY.
Absolutely.
Josh, thank you for coming today.
Of course. I have to tell you, honestly, I secretly have always wanted to be a bartender, so this is like a dream come true.
I'm going to remember that when we get to the end. So first of all, cheers.
Yes. Oh
Welcome
my gosh.
to Broadway Bartender.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, what do you think?
Ooh. Delish.
Good, right? Nice and balanced.
What is it when you're like, as you're getting older, your palate changes? Because as a child, I would have been like, bah.
I love that you said that.
Yeah, because this is so yummy to me now. Maybe 2 years ago, I'd have been like, give me something fruity and, but.
So actually, that's a great question. You ever heard the term bitter old man?
Yes.
Which I'm turning into? It's a thing. Yeah, so I actually read a great article on this that what happens is children, when they're young and they're growing, they crave energy to grow, which sugar is energy, right?
Right.
So you have a very sweet palate, and children eating candy and taking candy from a baby, all that stuff, those things are real. When you're young and you're growing, you are craving sugar. As you stop growing, and your body doesn't quite need as much energy, your palate changes to reflect that. We're smart, our bodies know what we need.
Right.
So our craving for sugar goes down, and we start to appreciate things with a more bitter facing palate, and that's why drinks like this are generally viewed as an older person's drink, but I encourage people to branch out into the bitter cocktails as early as they possibly can. To me, they're just more interesting than just sugar. Kind of sits down like a blanket and layers. It just kind of hides flavors.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bitterness can kind of get up underneath it. So
I'm totally a fan now. I'm getting into it because also now this seems more like I'm just going to relax and be with people. Whereas the other ones, I was always ready for a party. But this to me just seems like I'm an adult. I'm just going to sit here, drink, and have conversation. So that's what I love about it.
All right, so we're going out drinking because this is fantastic.
Yeah.
And the other nice thing about this drink is you can see, this is something that I'm going to enjoy over 15, 20 minutes. Whereas if it was just sugar, you drink it down like it's soda.
Do you know what I used to do? I used to drink 2 liters of Coke a day and eat 2 packets of Mentos a day.
You got to be kidding me.
I don't know why I still have teeth, but
Yeah.
but I craved so much sugar, and I think, yeah, you're right. I think this now, just understanding this is my palate now.
Okay, so but I have another theory with you in particular, because you're a tap dancer.
I am, yes.
So I'm guessing you burn through a lot of energy in any given day.
I think I burn 3,000 calories per show.
You've got to be kidding me.
That's what my understudy said. He's like your track, because I play 10 different characters in the show. Your track is just constantly moving, and then he said 25 to like 3, like yeah. 3,
Wait, you play 10 different characters?
Yes.
Okay, coming back to that.
Yes.
So you don't have any trouble getting your 10,000 steps in?
No. I don't need that fit like little watching. No, I'm good.
That's amazing. All right, so I want to talk about CAGNEY because first of all, fabulous subject matter for a musical.
Absolutely.
I think that people who know James CAGNEY wouldn't necessarily think of him as the subject of a musical,
right.
But they certainly should. And
absolutely.
I think you're going to tell us why.
Yeah.
But the other thing about it is that it started off Broadway, which is what that's the world the Imbibo lives in. So I want to hear about your experiences with the whole off-Broadway thing. But first of all, tell me about CAGNEY. Tell me about the musical.
Yeah, so our musical, basically, it tells the story of James CAGNEY, who, for a lot of people, when they think of James CAGNEY, they think of gangster. They think of that iconic image within like movies like White Heat or Public Enemy, where he's just like this guy who is like telling everyone what to do, and he commands space. And I think at the time, America needed him. I think the genius of Warner, over at Warner Brothers, Jack Warner, he saw in CAGNEY this image that the public needed. They needed this kind of like tough guy to kind of like help them like escape what was happening, whether it was in the Depression or whether, during our wars. It was an opportunity for people to escape into this guy who was going to just like demolish and just like have destruction. But people don't really know that CAGNEY started in vaudeville. And that's where he came from. Actually, his first performance that he ever did, because his family needed money, and so he was trying to find all these jobs, and finally he found an audition to, for a vaudeville, I think Keith's Music Theater, and decided to go audition. And his first skit, historically, he was in drag. He did a show that was all men in drag. And so we do a little homage to that in the show, where he comes out as like, his first character ever is fully dressed up to the nines as a woman. So what's interesting about that is like the juxtaposition between like what he really was famous for was this gangster, but yet he started in vaudeville in drag, but then moved on to be this like amazing hoofer. He's like a phenomenal tap dancer, and that's where he got his start. And then he got recognized. The Hollywood started to see the reviews and see what he was doing on the stage, and brought him out for some screen tests. And then his career shot through the roof there.
Who's making a big splash on Broadway right now? CAGNEY? James CAGNEY?
I'm always amazed by the number of people that end up in Hollywood, especially in that era, that actually start on the stage.
Oh, yeah, I think that was just the transition at that time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think you got your skill set on, in the vaudeville circuit, and then as that was slowly dying out and movies were starting to like take over, that's where the money was. And all those people had that incredible skill set, and it just translated at that time stylistically beautifully to the camera.
But what he ended up being known for, as you mentioned, completely different. I mean, would you say he was the first, the sort of archetype of the Hollywood tough guy?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that's really what he's known for. And our show talks about the tough guy in tap shoes. So have you ever been to MGM Studios down, I think it's called Hollywood Studios down in Florida?
Yeah.
They have the great movie ride. And so you're going through, you see Julie Andrews and Mary Poppins and all, Casablanca. And then you come to, I think it's the Public Enemy scene, and it's this whole scene with him as the tough guy, and it's this whole interactive moment. And so that's how we see him, and we only see him for a big, demographic. Basically, our audience tends to be an older crowd that's now slowly changing as we're getting more into our tourists and the younger audience. But at first, it was those people who remembered him and knew him well, and it was wonderful to watch them remember and go, oh yeah, he was a song and dance man, Yankee Doodle Dandy, who he won the Oscar for, which, by the way, some fun little information about that. He was the first man to win Best Actor Oscar ever for a musical. And this was a Hollywood musical. It was an original Hollywood musical, so he was the first one to win. And if Ryan Gosling wins this year for La La Land, he will be the second to win for Best Actor in an original Hollywood musical. Because you've had people like Rex Harrison for My Fair Lady, and Yul Brynner in The King and I, but those were already stage shows that came from Broadway. So it's kind of exciting. Wow, and 75 years ago.
That's unbelievable. So it might, if it even happens, it will have taken 75 years.
Yeah.
And it'll be Ryan Gosling, who I don't know is analogous to James CAGNEY. But
Right. But
there are some.
the cool thing, I got to hang out with Ryan Gosling. Let me just sip a
Seriously?
little.
All right. This is what I love about getting to sit down and have drinks with people like you.
But he, you know, he was from the Disney, the Mickey Mouse Club, like with all like the greats like Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake. I remember talking with him, and he desperately wanted to do a musical. He desperately wanted to dance again. And talking with his sister, he's like looking for that project to dance, because it's just like, it was something in his body and something he really wanted to utilize. But a little side note for all our fans and your fans out there, I actually got to sleep in Ryan Gosling's bed.
I think we have that on camera now. You got to sleep in Ryan Gosling's bed.
Now,
yeah.
He was not there, but I was actually in the bed, and he had really like his home was very like understated. It just was like this cool pad. But do you remember that movie Lars and the Real Girl, where he like ordered like a doll to be his partner? When you walk in the door and you turn right into the living room, she's sitting there in a wheelchair, permanently affixed with that open mouth, just right there in the room, and she's always there. She's still very much a part of his life. But he had a very nice bed. So I just wanted to say that. Yeah. I got to sleep in his bed. Not many people can say that, and not many people starring on off-Broadway musicals get to say that, do they?
Very true, very true. Okay, so now tell me about you. Tell me about your experience with the off-Broadway world.
I love it.
Really?
Yeah.
Because, you know, and I think a lot of our viewers probably are aware of this, is there's a big difference between Broadway and off-Broadway.
There is.
And I think maybe even bigger today than even historically, and when you're looking at like the mega Disney musicals and the amount of money that it takes to mount a Broadway show.
Right.
So tell me a little bit about, so first of all, do you mind explaining off-Broadway, just kind of like what it is?
Sure. I guess in my grasp of it, it just means a particular size of audience, right? And that it's like $4.99, is
or
that
less.
Or
yeah,
less.
Right.
And so for me, going to NYU and being in the city, I always looked at off-Broadway as being not the cooler theater. It was just more like a lot of experimental stuff was happening there. It just seemed like you had more freedom.
Right.
Like there wasn't the worry of like, we gotta make that, that dollar, because you wanted to have a success, but everyone kind of knew it's probably not going to have like a great following. We're going to do this because we're passionate about it, and maybe, just maybe, we might get a huge success out of it. But it always seemed like passion pieces.
Right.
It seemed like pieces that people were just loved and wanted to get up on stage and share with the audience. And what's interesting, the people that come to see their show know that. The off-Broadway people, they know they're coming to see something special. They know they're coming to see something really different. And the trick that we're learning is like, how do you pull in the tourists that when they get to their hotel, that all of a sudden they're like, I want to see a Broadway show. And yet there's so many other great off-Broadway shows. So that is the interesting of trying to like convince a tourist that, no, it's just as good. The quality is just as strong. It's just smaller. And what I love is it's more intimate.
I couldn't agree more.
Like I can look out of the audience and I see everybody, and I see people crying, and then people at the end of our show are singing along like Yankee, like they're just so invested. And also seeing younger people not knowing anything about them. A lot of my friends come and they're like, I had no idea that CAGNEY was such a humanitarian, that he really cared about the working man, and that he fought so hard to get those who weren't like being, given the right wages and being dealt with fairly. He fought for those men. So people are leaving our show with a newfound love and appreciation for who he was, not just the tough guy. But it's wonderful. Our producer, Ricky Kane Larimer, she has treated our off-Broadway show like a Broadway show. So everything from the set and the talent and the advertising and everything that's been associated with the show, we are projecting it just as if it's as glossy and as beautiful as an epic Broadway show, but just on such an intimate level that you actually get to be invested with every single person on stage. We just have 6 people, and like I said, I play 10 characters. Danette Holden plays 12. Like, we're all mad dashing backstage. I mean, that's another show. Maybe you should come videotape that backstage, just how fast we go in and out. Yeah, just in and out, and like getting back on stage, and you're like, okay, who am I? Oh, I have glasses. I'm this guy. Okay, who am I? Oh, I have an accent. I'm that guy. So that's what's so thrilling, is that the audience gets to sit and watch us command the stage with so many personalities, and they go, that person was just that person a second ago. So I think that's the absolute joy of off-Broadway. It's the intimacy, the craft, the passion, and it really is everyone there at the show, especially Robert Creighton, who's starring in the show and basically wrote our show. it's been his beast, like his baby for like years, and he's been working on it like rigorously, and now here it is, and he gets to celebrate it, and we're a huge hit.
Dude, you are a huge hit.
We're a huge hit.
Congratulations, man. That is fantastic. So where are you playing again? What's the theater?
The West Side Theater, and it's on 43rd and 9th, and we are the upstairs theater.
And the website?
The website, it's cagneythemusical.com.
Love it. So I love everything you said, and one of the things that I would love our viewers to take away is that the distinction you made, that off-Broadway isn't the minor leagues for Broadway.
Exactly.
And it's not something that's lower quality.
Right.
It's a completely different product,
Yeah.
right? And to me, it's almost like Starbucks versus a craft coffee house.
Yes.
And you know, there's advantages to both, but I would encourage you, if you're coming to New York City and you want to experience theater, see at least 2 shows, make one of them a Broadway show and one of them an off-Broadway show.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to be equally thrilled with both. Some of the most innovative and interesting things that are happening in the theater world can only happen off-Broadway.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Broadway right now is kind of fierce. I mean, off-Broadway. I think off-Broadway right now has like a lot of like beautiful like pieces that are happening, and they're sustaining and they're staying, and it's just, I think it's a fun energy to be around or to be a part of when you tell someone, oh yeah, off-Broadway, there's such like a feeling of pride and that people know exactly what that means to be off-Broadway and to be in a show that is being extended as much as we are, and you know, I'm sure your show's like killing it.
We're thrilled, you know, the Bible.
Do you get drunk every night?
We don't drink during the show.
Because I'm a little drunk right
good.
now.
No, we're all about sort of history and science and, you know, putting alcohol in context. So please come see the show. I want you to come see the Bible, and I'm going to come see.
Do you have Thursday night shows?
We do.
I'm there.
All right, awesome. It's so hard to go see other people's shows.
I know. But we got Thursday night off, so I'll come and check you out.
Cool.
I'll bring the whole cast.
Yeah, please. Maybe we can tap a little.
Amen.
So tell me about what it's like playing 10 characters and how that happens.
So what I've had to learn with all my Stanislavski training at NYU.
Of course.
I just realized that the only way that I can work is if I have an anchor, and that's what I've called it. Like Bill Cagney, I play James Cagney's brother,
okay.
And the only way that I can connect with him is I put on glasses, and then I have to do this like Joe Pesci-esque kind of voice. And as soon as I land in that, I'm good. And then I have to go to another thing. I play this goon at the work site, and I have to put on this hat, and all I do backstage is go, lift your shoulders. And as soon as I got that, I enter stage, and that starts to inform me. So right before I go on stage, I always have to just check in. What is the physical nature? So I go outside, and then that translates inside.
That's so interesting.
I think it's more English, less American, I guess, the approach to that. Just like get the physicality, and then the everything will be there when you enter stage.
Well, that's interesting, because I've always been more of a fan of having physicality inform the character first as well, as opposed to kind of, let me be a tree, which is great. For a lot of people, but
Absolutely.
you know, I've always been, and when I direct people, I always try and give them the physical. I think it's easier for most people to grasp.
And also, if you have like a whole like plate of characters you have to do, if I jumped into everyone and like totally tried to go emotion-based first, I would be there. I'd be exhausted. I'd be there forever trying to like pinpoint.
Right, exactly.
But you're right. Getting the physical down first, then gives all the answers.
Tip. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So James Cagney is famous for one line in particular that I know. Don't laugh at me, because
Are you going to do it?
No.
Do it.
I'm going you to do it.
No, you do it.
No, I want you to do it. I want you to do it in the accent. Come on.
I think the way Bobby, Robert Crate makes fun of you goes, oh, you dirty rat. That.
So
please soundbite that and have that be your next phone ring for whenever someone important calls you. Please.
I love it.
Just know that was a horrible or impersonation of that. But that's supposed to be a bad representation of the actual line. So Cagney says, I have never said that. That has never been something that's come out of my mouth. There is a line that is similar, but he always, like in his speeches, always tells people, I did not say that line. That is not something that the character said. It's just people have taken little like bits of it and have created a little like soundbite.
The way I know it, and you're going to laugh at me, like Bugs Bunny has a whole...
Oh, I know.
Okay?
Yes.
That's how I know that line.
Yeah. And we got to Looney Tunes. Hey!
Shit, that's how you made it. That was like a Simpsons appearance of its day. All right, so we mentioned physicality and how that works for you.
Yes.
And we mentioned that you're a dancer. I want to hear about, because I am a huge tap fan.
Oh, yeah.
Never have been able to actually, I don't even want to say master, even like...
We're going to change that.
Yeah?
I
tried to do like a time step and... No.
Oh, I'm going to be your new tap teacher. I'm going to school you, and you're going to get all your sounds, and you're going to be ferocious, and then you're going to audition for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. I don't have my tap shoes on, but maybe you can try and teach me something in a minute.
Well, I could, or I could just show you what I'm doing in the show, and maybe we can get a couple sounds in there. So in the show, we do this big USO number where we just, all of a sudden, it's this full presentational dance. And so Joshua Bergasse, I don't know if you know him as a choreographer, he did On the Town, Gigi, I think he's doing Charlie and the Chocolate Factory now, he's phenomenal. So I have this one number called Harrigan, and it's my own little solo, and I get to go on stage, and at first I was terrified. I was like, thank God I have a little alcohol in me right now, because I'm not terrified. But I was so worried because I'm like, I'm on stage, the only one doing these sounds, I gotta make sure they're all there. So basically, I just very simple. And then it just grows. And then a little flare. That way. And then back. So that's just like that's just like the first part. But I'll show you I'll just show you the hardest step that at first in rehearsals, I could not get. And everyone would be looking at me and be like, great. And then like we would move on and I'm like, oh God, I have to get this. So this is a step I've never had to do, but I do it in the show. That was horrible, let me do it again. So that took me so long to get, and it was like every day, such like a beating thing, like, why can't I get it? And then I got it. Do you want to do the first part? We go step, falap, step.
Step, falap.
So a falap is 2 sounds with 1 foot, and you end on the second.
Falap.
Yeah, on the land on it. Bata.
Falap.
There you go.
Okay.
So if you go step, falap, step.
Step.
Then you go to the other side. Step,
Step,
falap, step. Then you go step, falap, step, falap, step, falap, step. There you go.
Let's make a drink. All right. Let's do that.
That was highly successful.
Dude, all right. So now, all right, you taught me tap. That counts.
You were phenomenal. Come on, let's just talk about it. I heard some sounds.
Okay.
Vaguely.
So now I'm going to teach you how to make a drink. Yeah?
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
All right, cool. So why don't you step over here?
Okay.
All right, so we're now going to go
So
back.
wait, first up, do you feel powerful back here?
No, let me ask you.
I feel so powerful.
Don't you feel powerful back here?
I feel like the dude.
Yeah, that's the reason why I was drawn to bartending. I was an actor first, and I stepped behind the bar, and I was like, this is like a show every night that I only had to audition for one time.
Wait, this is so cool.
I know.
My friend Susie Darling opened Pocket Bar, which is around the corner, and every time I go in, I'm like, I should ask her. I just want to step behind the bar and just like mix a drink. But I know nothing. I have no skills.
Okay.
But I'm ready.
So, first thing I want you to do. So this is going to be a drink. This is an old fashioned.
Yes.
Which I'm sure you've had. But I don't do anything sort of straight, normal, easy. We're gonna jazz it up a little bit.
Like Tina Turner.
Exactly. So the reason I chose this is because this is probably a drink that James Cagney would have had many of back in the day, and then it kind of fell out of favor, and now it's like the hottest drink ever. So we're going to do, because James Cagney was Irish, and we're going to do an old-fashioned with Jameson.
Thank you.
Irish whiskey. Is that cool?
Yes,
all right,
absolutely.
So normally an old-fashioned is just whiskey with some simple syrup or sugar and some bitters, but rather than just use simple syrup or sugar, we're going to use vanilla syrup.
Ooh.
And then we're going to use orange bitters, so you're going to make me a creamsicle old-fashioned. Okay. Right. So first thing I want you to do is you can take that tin and fill it up with ice.
So we got some ice here.
Oh, you already got some ice there. Great. So just put a little more in there.
Put a little more in there.
Yep.
Right?
Perfect. Yep, absolutely. Then I want you to grab the Jameson bottle, which you have right down there.
This guy.
Good. And you're going to pour, and you're going to count to 8. Because each 2 count is 1 ounce.
Oh.
So how many ounces would that be?
Yeah.
8 divided by 2
is
4 ounces. And so that means you're going to make one for me.
Could you imagine? I was like 7. Like, you know, like so wasted.
A lot of math in bartending.
That's 20.
Right.
I don't know. Okay.
So go ahead and pour and count to 8.
Count to 8. And I just tip this over and it's going to be fine.
I want you straight up and down. Good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 4 ounces of whiskey.
Is cool.
I know.
I thought you had to be a certain degree, and I thought it
It's got to be straight up and down.
Straight up and down.
That's the whole thing.
That's how I am.
Dude, you're going to come back and we're going to do another. Okay.
Oh my God.
So I want you to do now. You have some vanilla syrup down there.
Where is she?
Right next to the Jameson.
Bang.
And you're going to do a 2 count, which is going to be 1 ounce.
Gotcha.
And that's a ½ ounce per drink.
Beautiful.
Right. So go ahead and do that.
2 count?
Yep. Just 1, 2, and done. Beautiful.
Come on now.
I know. Now, normally we would stir this drink, but you're a rhythm guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I want you to shake it. So put that in there.
Like this?
Yep. And yeah, good. And then one hand on top, one hand on the bottom.
Like that?
Yep. And I want you to just shake it like you mean
I'm
it.
so nervous about
Don't.
This is the moment I just saw, like, just water and
as long as you
wet
have one hand
t-shirt.
on top
Okay.
and one on the bottom, you're gonna be good. Okay? Now, here's the challenge.
Yes.
Can you shake and tap?
Okay.
Okay, that's... Now you're putting me to shame. That was amazing. That was amazing.
Thank you.
Okay, now you have 2 rocks glasses down there. They're
Yes.
the ones, yeah, good. Fill those up with ice.
Fill them up with ice?
Yep.
How high? To the top?
All the way to the top. You always want to use all the way to the top with
So
ice.
good?
Yep, perfect. Take that out. The top
here?
of the...
What do you like to
Right
do?
on the thing, because in case it spills.
Right?
Yeah, so take that out.
I see some guys like go, ugh.
No, I don't like to do that. You don't need to do that.
Like no Tom Cruise here, right?
No, you don't
like
need to
just
do
flip
that.
and,
Take that strainer.
yes.
Put the spring side down. Yep, good. Now, you want to know how to really use this?
Yes, please.
Are you a righty or a lefty?
I'm a righty.
Okay, make a gun with your right hand.
My right hand.
Good. Take the barrel.
Yes.
And you're going to put it right outside this tab here.
Like
right
that?
on top. Nope, the barrel on top.
On top?
And
There
then
we go.
wrap these fingers around.
Like that?
And now you can hold it. That's
Like
it.
that?
That's it.
Oh my God.
I know. And now just...
Thank God I knew a gun, right?
Right. Well, I mean, you're in CAGNEY.
I mean, come on now.
Right. So now just divide it between those 2.
So I just like, how do I?
Yeah, so do like about halfway and
God,
then
it's
switch
pouring
to the
everywhere.
next one. Yeah, then switch to the
Oh
next
my
one.
God. Did you just get moist and wet the whole time?
The
You're like
whole
pouring?
time, yeah. And now go back and forth.
Go back and forth.
So that they're equal. Right. Beautiful.
I'm just gonna keep going.
That's it.
Side to
You're done.
side to side.
Lovely.
Yeah!
Now we need the bitters, because in old fashioned, you have to have sugar, and then it's got to be balanced, and we balance it with cocktail bitters. And we're going to use orange bitters.
Okay.
Again, straight down. I want you to just
handsome.
go
Look at
bam,
that.
bam. That's Gary Regan. He's a great man in the cocktail world.
Oh, yeah?
One more, yep. And that's, now give me a couple cocktail napkins. And that
Oh
is
my God.
our Jameson creamsicle.
Creamsicle. Do you know, like, you're taking me back to like 3rd grade when we get the fudgicle or the creamsicle down at the ice cream shop?
But it didn't have Jameson in it.
No, it didn't.
Or I want to go to your 3rd grade.
Maybe in New Hampshire we did.
See what we think.
Oh man.
You are a multi-talented man.
Wait a minute.
That's good, right?
If I want this again from somebody, what do I say?
You say, where's Anthony Caporale bartending?
That, I'm telling you, to soothe the man who used to have 2 liters of Coke every day, that has like the sugar and the flavor, but then it has the Jameson that I love. A little side note, don't tell anyone.
Okay.
I used to do a shot of Jameson sometimes, right before the 2nd act of Legally Blonde on the road.
Really?
Because a little shot of Jameson will help you get through that jump rope number just fine. Am I from Canada? Did you hear me? Jump rope. jump rope number. But don't tell anybody.
Dude, thank you so much.
Oh my God, thank you.
I can't tell you how much fun this was.
Yeah.
Please come see the Imbible, and I'm going to come see CAGNEY.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to. Thank you. This is a dream come true, and I really I'm now drunk for the rest of my day, which is perfect.
I love it. Folks, check us out, BroadwayBartender.com. Check out our blog. You'll have some information on the old-fashioned style of drinks. We'll have these recipes. We'll have a link to CAGNEY. You have a personal website we can link?
I don't, right? I need to. I'm behind.
All right.
I mean, I'm the Josh Walden on all social media. So you
Well, check out the Josh Walden on all social media, apparently. Folks, drink well, drink responsibly. Tune back in next week.
Cheers.
Cheers.